Recently, a really big fight took place on the internet about whether there are more wheels or more doors in the world. In this video, we don't have to decide who is right, but definitely there are more wheels than doors, but instead let's create a game on this topic. The game will consist of 3 minigames. Each one is infinite and randomized, so you can chase the top scores for as long as you want.
Forever. Ha 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 ha!
As you might already know, I have amazing drawing skills, so let's start the process with some beautiful artwork. We need a door, a wheel, of course, and a house, for some reason. That's actually not that bad. And here is a cat. The first minigame will be about the topic whether there are more wheels or more doors, but unlike the real world example, here you can know the answer for 100% sure. A bunch of wheels and doors will be placed on the screen and you have to decide if there are more wheels or more doors. Easy, right? Let's make it harder by adding a very tight time limit, so no chance to count them all. At the beginning of each round, the game has to decide how many wheels and doors should be placed. Of course this will be random, but in an optimal scenario, the number of doors is nearly the same as the number of wheels, so we can't use a simple random. So instead of using a uniform distribution where you have the same chance to get a 10% and 50% ratio, we will use the normal distribution. With this we are more likely to get a percentage around the mean, so 50%, and less likely to get a much lower or much higher value. So it won't be impossible to get much more wheels than doors in a given level, like in real world, but most times the number will be close, thus keeping the game interesting. The other important thing to mention in this game is the game area where the objects will be placed. I wasn't able to find a built-in solution to keep the full width but not break the other parts of the UI in different screen aspect ratios, so I have to make my own solution. I found this function called onRecTransformDimensions_Change, which will be called when the game window is resized, so I adjust the game panel size in this method. This game area is quite big for just a few objects, so at the beginning I try to place the objects far from each other so they can be easily distinguished from each other, and if that's not working because there are too many objects, the game starts to put them closer to each other. In the next game you will heavily need your memorization skills because you need to remember every object's position. The objects will be placed on a grid and you have a few seconds to memorize them. After that you have to find all the objects of a given type. Pretty much the same applies to the distributions as in the previous game. Here the most interesting thing is the grid itself. In the first level the size will be 3 by 3, but that scales up over the levels up to 10 by 10. For this I use the grid layout group component, which will automatically place its children in a grid. The cells will be identical sized, which can be configured through code at the start of every level. The cell itself has a button and an image component. If we want to place an object in this cell, we just set the image, otherwise it will be completely transparent. Let's check out the last game. We all love maths and really like numbers, especially when we finally see a number in a math class in university. This minigame tests your counting skills. The wheels and doors decided to go into this house. Don't ask me, I can't find out what's going on in their mind. Do they even have a mind? Never mind. So they enter the house, some of them exit the house, and the question is, how many of them are still in the house? So in every step an object enters or leaves the house. The main problem with this is the timing. Obviously the object can exit the house only if it entered before. So I store every object that is in the house in a list, but I only add them after the animation is completed, so in this way they can't leave before they entered. We also need a main menu and some polishing like particles and sound effects, but I don't want to bore you with that. Instead, tell me in the comments if you are a team wheel or team door, and if you are curious about how you can play a memory game with QR codes, then watch the video on the screen right now.